Friends, let's start the meditation with divine guidance from Brahmarshi Pitama Patriji, Mahatar Babaji, Ramta Master, and humble pranams to all the masters and spiritual guides, teachers who have assembled here and who are guiding us for successfully going through this divine design Swadhyay and bringing in all the beautiful energies for making this successful. Welcome to day 28 of Divine Design. Let's start with the meditation. First, let's relax the body and then we'll go to the Anapanasati meditation. Please sit comfortably in a chair or down cross-legged. Close your eyes gently. Remove your spectacles. Cross your hands, cross your legs, clasp your palms and keep it on your lap. Take 2 deep breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Let the out breath be longer as you focus on each body part and let go of all the stress and tension in that body part. Let's first focus on the head region. My forehead is relaxed. Eyes are relaxed. Nose is relaxed. Neck region is relaxed. Back part is completely relaxed. Hips are relaxed. Thigh region, calf, knees, and feet are completely relaxed and relaxed and relaxed. Focus on each body part. If there is any tension, any pain, just focus on that body part and say relax, relax, and relax. Your feet is relaxed. Calf muscles are completely relaxed. Knees are relaxed. Thighs are relaxed. Hip region is completely relaxed. Back is relaxed. Chest is relaxed. Neck region is relaxed. Head is completely relaxed. From head to toe, the entire body is fully relaxed and relaxed and relaxed. Continue to relax each body part. And then move over to the Anapanasati meditation, which is the natural observation of breath. It's a very simple technique. You're just being in the present, mindful, and just watching what is happening in the body while the breath moves in and out of your body. Just observe wherever the breath goes, just follow the breath. If your mind is distracted, gently bring the mind back to your breath. Don't get disturbed. Don't be guilty. Don't be irritated. The nature of the mind is to go here and there. Gently get it back to the breath. Slowly come back to your body consciousness, friends. Gently, at the count of 5, keep your palms on your eyes and open your eyes with a beautiful smile. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very, very good music. I don't know how 22 minutes passed for me. I had kept an alarm. It was very good. Very, very melodious. Okay, welcome to day 28 of Divine Design. Today we'll be starting something called 4D races. I thought before I start the 4D races, I would like to give you a recap of what is God, what is oneness, and what is it that we really have to remember before we hear about something called bad, something called dark, something that keeps you in discomfort. Okay, before we go to that kind of discussion today, let us remember what truly is creation and God and all of that. Okay, just so that we become comfortable even when we are hearing something dark, so that our mind is in oneness. Okay, otherwise what will happen is when we read about for example, let's say we in India, when India Pakistan match happens, how much even in the newspapers anti Pakistan slogans keep coming, right? Or anti Australia, so many things come up. So this is sort of duality that we are talking about. So before we go to that level of talk today, so I just wanted us to remember who we are. Okay. So remember when I initially spoke about God, I told this is God, right? That orange pen. I told like this. And then I told this is God's reflection. So wherever there is God, opposite to him is his reflection. So the reflection, so what did God tell? God told, okay, go, my children, go as sparks. Okay, the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God split itself like this. And then eventually he said, go play, go do whatever you want, go create, go enjoy. So all of that kind of a talk God told. And there were no rules, there were no regulations apart from the general rules that that energy had, which is every single spark has a free will, and around each of this spark there is God, which means the essence of God is there in each of the spark, because God only created that. No, it's the essence of God that split like this and then it went away. So for example, what does it actually mean to you related to whatever we have spoken about so far? If I am in 3D as of now, let's say if I'm in 3D and I'm in body consciousness, which means I am relating to myself more as Smita than as a soul, then what does it actually mean is wherever there is awareness, for example, when I'm aware that I'm a body, I'm looking at a bottle and I'm aware. So whatever I see, I'm aware that this is happening around me. So that awareness that is there inside you is that God. Okay. So like that, let's say if my awareness is at my higher self, then God is sitting at the higher self level. And you should remember that in your perspective, in your universe, for example, from Smita as a HDC, my perspective of God can be relative to only me. It can be God at the body consciousness level, God at the higher self level. But when God is present at the Smita level, God consciousness is not there at higher self, which means every single thing is, I mean, it's there in the sense, but you are aware only of this level. Okay? Because you are growing, right? Wherever God is in other aspects, that is not relevant to you as of now. It is there. You are multidimensional. So every single you may be in different realities. For example, you may be in different parallel universes. You may be in different planets. You may be in different kind of bodies. You may be in different time periods. You may be in different levels. And in each of these, there may be different higher selves also. No, there is only one higher self, but then the higher self is common to all of these things also. But still, you are only aware about your stuff, right? So which means God is very much present fully for you. Similarly, God is very much present fully for all your parallel levels. Let's say I'm a man in some other place, I'm a child in something else, I'm a maybe from some other star system, I'm there also. So like this, God is fully present in all the awarenesses I have, okay, with me so far. In every single awareness that I have, God is there fully. So since I am not worried about other multidimensional aspects of mine, I'm just going to think about me. Now, if I am watching my body, wherever is the awareness, no? And let's say if my awareness is at my body level, mind level and all that, my God is watching me. God is watching the body. God is watching the mind. God is watching the senses. But God itself is not participating in this whole equation. Okay, somebody is just watching and there is no participation, which means anything that happens in this body, God is watching. Anything that happens in the mind, God is watching. Anything that happens to your senses, wherever the senses go, God is just watching. God doesn't have a sense of judgment in this. He doesn't have a sense of guilt. What did he say? Go do whatever you want. Right? So, but who is bringing constantly these experiences in front of this body, mind, and senses and all that, and intellect and all that? The God, which is the higher self, is according to the plan. When everything was right at the soul level, everything was planned, and then only that planning started getting executed only when you are here, correct? So that execution is happening in front of you constantly. God knows, okay, whatever plan I've planned, all that is getting executed. So I'm just going to sit and watch like this. So what does it mean? It means that, first of all, you should first think that, oh my God, God is watching me. If you're, let's say, you think you're a body, fine, you think you're a body also. God is watching me. Or if you think I'm a God, I'm God. I'm actually God. I don't have to feel less about anything. I'm God. I'm the only God, that orange God that I spoke about, right? This God. This God is watching me. There is nobody else. This God is actually watching me. The highest potential, highest level stuff, highest Paramatma. That Paramatma is watching me chopping the vegetables. That Paramatma is watching me when I judge somebody. This Paramatma is watching me when I look at some food and I feel craving for that food. This Paramatma is just watching me. Okay? Why? Because in one case he said, okay, such a situation will come in front of Smita, and because she has judgment inside her already, okay, it's already inside me. So judgment is going to come out of me because that vritti is there inside me. So judgment came out of me. But because I am God, I'm not going to connect with that judgment. Oh my God, I didn't want to judge people today, but I actually judged somebody. I shouldn't be judging. Oh my God, I shouldn't be judging. You don't have to think like that. You just have to see, you just have to watch. Oh, there was judgment coming out of me. What am I learning from this? Yeah, maybe oneness. Okay, chill, cool. That's it. Just drop that. Move on with the next moment. Whatever was your task, move on. Don't connect yourself even with the person who judged that other person, because judgment had to come out. Judgment came out, and you are not the person who judged it. The body judged, the mind judged, the intellect decided to judge. So let them judge. Just watch. Don't just be detached with that judgment also, action of judgment also. Leave it. Now let's say you now felt like being angry on some person. Then that anger is now boiling. Maybe initially you will shout at some person also. Then watch yourself. Oh, the amount of anger that I had was just quite high. So, and I impulsively shouted it out. Just observe. Just observe what came out of the body, what came out of the mind. That's it. Leave it. Don't need to guilt and say, I didn't have to shout at that person. Okay, let's say you shouted and something came back also reactively from the other person. Take that also in equal spirits. Don't let it go to your heart. Don't let it go to your mind or something. Just watch that also, as if you are not connected to anything about the body, anything with the mind, anything with the relationship in that equation. You shouted, somebody else also shouted back. Okay, end of story. So be like a unattached kind of person. Just watching this, watching that, watching this, watching that, as if I am not doing it. It is actually happening. I am watching. Okay, what was inside is coming out. You are not doing it. You, in the sense, Atma has nothing to do with it. But the body has everything to do with it. Who is evolving here? Is Atma evolving or the body is evolving? Body is evolving, right? So let the body evolve. Why are you controlling the body? Why should Atma control the body? We very well knew, whether it was in 5D or 3D, the Atma, that the individualized self that was attached to the body was just an observer. Higher self was doing all the back and forth. So if everything, and if I am only able to sense myself as an individualized self as of now, right? I can only watch. I can't do anything else, because what is playing out is already planned. And you have to learn that art of just watching, because you can't train the body in doing this, because the training is happening as per the experiences that are going to come to you, and that experiences are already planned. And it's like a teacher exactly note what question paper she has set. So she's going to be able to see when the questions and answers and all are being written, and she'll watch the people writing and all that. She'll be able to do it. But the children don't know, right, what is there in the question paper and all that. So like that, the higher self is watching. It is adjusting the experiences accordingly, and things are coming. So if the plan has to get executed properly and things have to move on smoothly, don't interfere in the process of the plan execution. If you should not interfere, you just have to watch. And if you have to watch, you when even action when you have to respond to a person also, respond not because of ego. Respond because you have to respond in a very detached way. Whatever it is that you have to talk in that detached way. Your role as a mother, whatever you're supposed to do, it in the right way. Your role as a wife, whatever you have to do, it in the right way. So whatever is going to come in front of you, it is going to trigger something that is already inside you. Because the higher self knows when something comes in front of me, what aspects of my vritti are going to get triggered. We don't know. For us, it is a surprise. With our level of awareness, it's a surprise, right? So let it come out. So let's say, like, if life is going from one if you're like crossing a bridge or something from one side of the river to another side of the river, one side you are you, and the other side is, let's say, your divine self, your higher self, or maybe your enlightened self, or whatever. If you have to cross that bridge, on the way all these things will be shown. You'll be angry, you'll be jealous, you'll be craving, you'll be this, you'll be that. Everything is going to happen on the way. But don't stop anywhere to build a house on top of that bridge. What do you mean? What I mean by don't build a house on top of the bridge means, don't build a house on top of the bridge with respect to, let's say, hoping for your child to give happiness, or your body to give you happiness, or your husband to respond in a certain way to you, or give you respect. Whatever is the expectation that you have, don't put your coins anywhere and try to build a bridge. Just keep walking, 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 walking. Even when it comes to food, okay? Even when it comes to food, many people have these questions. How do I balance between what I crave for and what I choose to eat or something like that? In Bhagavad Gita, what they say is the highest desire that you have is enlightenment. There won't be a desireless state in your life. Okay, there won't be a desireless state in your life. There will always be some desire or the other, but let that desire be for the highest good of yourself. The highest good is enlightenment, or let's say self-realization, that I am a Atma and I experience that I am an Atma. Okay, of course, beyond that, there are many levels. But to start off with, that is one milestone. Now, that is a desire to get out from duality to a state of oneness. So let that desire be the primary desire that will drive everything in front of you. Whether you eat, whether you talk to somebody, whether you go and do some job. So ask yourself, if I continue to keep eating these foods, will that be a show stop? Will that stop? Will that level of energy stop me from going on this path? So, for example, let's say if I'm constantly craving to eat certain food, I can eat certain food. Okay, if you're constantly craving and you're not able to even think of self-realization or something, eat that food. Why? Because that is what is, you are not the body. The body wants to eat it. So let's say mind wants to eat it. You are going to eat that food. But next, if the body falls sick, don't be attached to that also. Body is falling sick. You are not falling sick. Let the body fall sick. If it's going to fall sick for 5 days, 10 days, 12 days, 15 days, let it fall sick. But when you eat so that I will have a body, or I will maintain a body that will help me do my sadhana, that will help me work on my whatever spiritual things that I have planned in my life, sadhana, right? So don't eat food so that you can keep your body healthy. That is like a moving goalpost. You are not even your body. So how can you even control your body's health and all of those things? We think that if I eat certain foods, the body will be healthy. But if you do everything for the highest goal, then everything else will fall in place automatically. Because you are not thinking about that small goal, which you cannot control. But you are able to focus on something, and there's a lot of surrender. Okay, so when you do that, and even if you quit certain foods at that time, don't quit it for the body's reasons. Quit it for a higher reason. For example, in my case, I have stopped eating grains, but I have got many questions. Many people said, Smita, you said oneness, no food is good, no food is bad. Why did you quit rice? Now, if rice is not bad, then why did you quit it? All those questions I got very recently. Okay, so I told them only one thing: if I eat, maybe I am evolving at a stage where certain level of energetical foods, certain level of foods are not agreeing with my body. Plus, when I eat it, I'm not finding the satisfaction that I used to have before. Right? Why do we eat certain foods again and again and again? Because it will give me the same high that I got in the past, isn't it? The same happiness that I got in the past. But if I'm not getting the same happiness because my mind is different, my body is different now. But if I continue to keep trying, and let's say that energy, because of the vibrations of my body, if the body's wishing if the body is tending to send that energy out, I want to understand that maybe those foods are no longer necessary for me, and I quit it. And I did not quit it for fear of rice or anything. It was a message that I found. I did quit rice. I came back, and then again I quit. It was my way of interpreting it. And I'm perfectly okay with that, right? So because I felt that I'll be more comfortable in doing my sadhana rather than constantly thinking about, should I quit? Shouldn't I quit? Should I quit? Shouldn't I quit? Yeah, let's say if I eat it, I had to be okay for days of not doing sadhana properly. But that was not my goal. My goal was to basically focus on my sadhana, right? So ensure that my body is um is okay to do that sadhana. I'm not the body, but when the body's things come, right? When the body is getting these experiences, at some point, the body will keep, rather the body and mind will keep doing these things. So if this confusion is there, then try this method. Because I can't say whether I'm 100% right or no. I just did whatever I felt is right for me. But what I would say is, if you want to continue to eat it, be okay with what the body is going to respond also. We don't know what kind of message the body is going to give back, whether it's vibrating at this level and it wants to shake off all the excess energy, excess lower energy that your chakras are sending out. Let it send. If you think so, even if there is sickness, go through it with the same spirit. At some point it will all even out. But somewhere we'll have to also think about, where am I walking on this path? So this is how I interpreted it. Okay. So what I would say is, don't attach yourself to anything. It is, at least I felt it was okay for me to understand many of these uh, experiences wise. You should just watch yourself. Just watch yourself as to what you're doing, what you're not doing, because the body is doing, mind is doing. Let it do. If it's angry, let it be angry. If it is greedy, let it be greedy. If it is this, let it be that. But you don't have to feel guilty about being greedy. You don't have to be this about this. Because now you are in the transition period. If all of you are here, you are all in the fourth dimension space, where we are learning to transition to the fifth dimension, where we are learning to we are learning to be aware of what we have inside us, all the vrittis that we have made across our lives. Just a minute. Okay, all the vrittis that we have made across our many lives. So if it is not going to come out, how will you be able to get rid of it? How will you basically be converting that to oneness? Because every single thing has to come out and you have to convert it to oneness. Now when it comes out again, if you're guilty, again if you're this, again if you're that, what will happen? They will again go back to the same state or create one more entry of karma. So when it comes out, if you are not even thinking that that is mine, you just, yeah, chalo, yeah, it's accepted. Yeah, something had to come out, it came out. Let it come out. Move on to the next moment. Just be done. If you have actually performed an action, then if some other action comes back to you, treat it in the same way. Treat it with the same detached mind. Don't be don't be attached to what your body does, your mind does, everything. Eventually it will come, it will go. It will come, it will go. Okay? Food wise also, don't attach to anything that you're eating, that you're doing. If you're eating something, if you want to eat something, eat it. And if you want to eat it, you should also be okay with the consequences also. We don't know whether the consequence is coming because of that food or maybe general karma. Who knows? If we have a belief system, if that belief system has to get cleaned up, it has to cleaned up. It has to keep getting cleaned up like that only. But at some point, if you're converting every part of your aspect to oneness, somewhere the oneness will also balance out. Okay. And in my opinion, food is one of the highest forms of attachment we have, even higher than people. Okay, even higher than people is the attachment to food. So food attachment will be the last thing to go, and after that the sense of attachment to yourself also will go. So until then, the sense of, we have lots of other attachments to work on. So keep working on this, because as you're continuing to practice this habit, many of these higher attachments, which will need a higher level of awareness, a higher level of knowledge, will keep coming through. Because what comes from inside you only, what you can apply. Okay. So with this, I'll just start the class. And I want you to remember that there is nothing bad or nothing good in this whole equation. In duality, okay, in duality, as much as good increases, the bad also must increase. And the more ascension focus is happening on the planet, the more negativity also will increase on the planet. Okay, it is expected. But what is your job? Your job is to not focus and be carried away with the kind of negativity and other things that come to you as messages, which will tell you, you may get messages to say, this is happening in the world, that is happening in the world, some everything is going to fall, this is going to fall, that is going to fall. Those kinds of messages are going to come, and you may think, oh my god, what will happen to my children, what will happen to this, what will happen to that, what will happen, I'm in big loans, what if the financial market crashes, something, like what all might come up. But your job is to just focus on your sadhana and focus on this first part of the conversation that I told you. Focus on what's coming in front of you and what your body is doing, and don't get attached to that. Even if your body is showing fear, you are not in fear. If you are connecting to that fear, what will happen? Your body will not evolve. The body has to naturally evolve based on the training the higher self is giving. You are attached to the body because they cannot work with the physical, right, without you, without the individualized self. So you are just a medium of connection. You are like the telephone. Okay, you are like the telephone that is connecting them to the body, right? So you don't go and interfere in this process. This is theory. Okay, think over this again and again and see in your respective situations how you will apply this. As much as possible, don't interfere in what the body is doing and what the mind is doing. And even if it's called pains and suffering, just be okay with it. Just watch it. It will, if the body is in uncomfortableness or discomfort and all that, yes, you will also feel that. Okay, so be a little more think about that. Now, when all of these negative experience, negative news and all those things comes to you, remember that in duality, these are going to be like that. The more this increases, the more this will increase. But your job is to not go and then balance these out or make this okay or something. It cannot become okay, because that is what duality is. You have to come to the center. So learn to come to the center before this becomes too overwhelming in the life, where you can't think properly. Practice now itself. It is very important that we practice oneness now itself. See, practicing oneness is a form of transitioning to, we are in 4D, that is what we have to do. Practicing to go to oneness. By whatever experiences come, don't treat that as positive, negative, bad, good and all that. Just see it neutrally and then keep working on it. But as you move on to with fifth dimension, you have to practice being in the present, not attaching to your body or your mind or something. You have to be detached, like, because you'll slowly become your higher self, right? You'll become your higher self. You'll stand in the position of your higher self. So when you're standing in the position of your higher self, then what does it actually mean? It means that you are not inside the body kind of thing. Or even if you're connected to that body, the body has evolved to that state of becoming the higher self itself. Okay, so at that time you cannot be acting like how you are acting right now, panicking and all of those things. You have to learn to detach. Okay, so this is a higher form of goal. Starting is that oneness goal. Second part of it is to basically detach from my body is doing, my mind is doing, and then move on with your rest of your life. Right? Practice this in different situations. You have to think and see how to apply, how to watch, how to be an observer. Because you are not used to it, right? So you'll have to learn it. Sometimes you may sometimes you may get carried over with the body, sometimes you may not, sometimes you'll be okay. When you're alone, you might typically probably manage, but when you're with other people, you might need lot more practice. So okay, we will stop here, and then now we will read 4D. Okay, when good increases in life, in duality, there will be some higher self, or sorry, there will be some HDC who will volunteer to come, or who will, to balance that, who will be seen as the total opposite of ascension. Okay, it doesn't mean they are our enemies. It only means that I don't have to think they are my enemy. I have to mind my business and then walk the path of ascension, because even don't get carried over by the disturbances that are happening around you. Even if you are in the marketplace, you should be able to sit and meditate. Or even if you're not able to meditate, you should be calm. Right? So that should be your focus in life. In the future, it is going to happen like that. But you need to be practicing to be in your center. That is the only way. You cannot be the Messiah, or you cannot be that avatar or something to balance or to make everything positive in duality. It will not work. It doesn't work like that. Okay, it is meant to be like that. But if you are not a person who wants to be in such a state, who is going to get carried over by darkness and light and darkness and light and that kind of thing, now is the time when all of you are getting education, including me, to practice some of these things. It's not easy to get out of duality. Duality will not leave you. You have practiced duality for like what, millions of years. Now if I say leave duality for 1 or 2 months, it will not work. So be kind with yourself. Even if your body is not able to do whatever you think, observation and all of those things, it's okay. Even if you take 1 year, it's okay. Even if you take 5 years, it's okay. But be on that path, stick to that path, and try, keep trying to go to an observer's position. Detach from whatever the body is doing. It may be sick, let it be sick. But you eat healthy, or you eat the right food and everything. You eat positive fruits, vegetables, greens, juices, all of those things are positive, which will keep your vibrations high. So eat those so that your vibrations are higher, so that you can rather keep your body lighter, so that you can take better decisions of moving to oneness, so that you can be more aware of going to oneness, not to keep the body okay, for my ego to be comfortable with my body. It doesn't work like that, because you are still in duality. Okay, we cannot live in duality and think that everything will be okay. But we need to go to oneness, and then from a state of oneness, we need to enjoy 3D. Okay, from the state of 5D, we can also enjoy 3D. From the state of 4D also, we can enjoy 3D. It is possible. Okay, you just need to get to that level slowly. There are crores of people in India, but there are only few people attending this divine design. Okay, all of you are light workers. All of you are here to bring light to your surrounding areas, to your families, to bring light into your families in whatsoever way. So practice this short term and long term as much as possible. Cravings, go and eat whatever you want, and be ready for the body's problems also. Enjoy that also. Let it go. Body will go through that evolution process, only because when this kind of eating happens, this kind of situation also will happen. Body doesn't know. That is why it is trying. It is still trying to eat some food, and it is still trying to get the pleasure, because it has not registered to it that when this kind of lighter food, if this kind of heavier foods, if I eat, These kinds of eliminations also will happen. It doesn't know. It's not able to remember. Okay, subconsciously it has still not entered, and you have to allow it to enter subconsciously. You can't resist everything. You can't eat also. You can't avoid this also. Okay, that doesn't work. But if you are not a person, then go totally to that other path where I'm just going to go directly to that self enlightenment state and for that goal, and then have a mind to let your mind be stable to go through all these things also. Okay, if you are not able to do that, then do this properly. So I'm giving you both the options. So whatever you want to do. So just ensure that when we read the 4D races, you are not thinking that they are bad. It had to happen. It is happening. It will happen in future also. Okay, you call them 4D. And somebody sent me a message called Antichrist today. Some big villain or something, biggest villain, like very, very worst criminal kind of person has already been born kind of thing. Irrespectively, it doesn't concern your life. You are in your reality, whatever matters is your creation. The more you go into fear, the more you'll attract fear. It's not about the more you are in fear, you'll attract fear. The more you connect to the fear that your body is going through, you will attract more fear. Because you have not learned, no? You're attaching to yourself to the body. So the more you detach, the more that fear will come, the fear will go. How to do that, you only have to observe yourself and do. But this is at least a high level understanding of you be like that person who's sitting and then watching. The person who's sitting and watching the movie has no botheration whether Amitabh Bachchan is going to win or Amitabh Bachchan is going to die. Yeah, maybe you'll feel a little bad because he's a nice hero, but then it really doesn't matter, because end of the day you'll see the movie and you'll go back home. Okay, so try to be as much as possible like that person who's watching the movie. And you don't have to imagine yourself coming out of the body and all of those things. Just in your mind think that, yeah, body is going through, right? But you have to keep telling yourself, oh, body is going through, okay, mind is going through, why am I doing this? Why am I thinking like this? Rather, why am I connecting myself to this person? Why am I feeling bad? Oh, actually I got connected. No, I got connected to this ego stuff. No, disconnect. Let it happen, let it happen, let it happen, let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. Okay, so yeah, let's start this 4D. Okay, chapter number 10, 4D. Thousands of 4D. So now what is the story so far? They opened that grid. They, after some 500 years, they realized that the 4D races also have come inside, and then they closed the grid, and they could not remove the people who are inside, and some people who have people who had still not entered, they anyway got left behind. They were constantly coming in those 500 years. They were constantly coming, and lots of activities were happening. But at the time they realized, they closed. But whatever infiltration had happened inside the earth by the time, they could not interfere unless some worst situation happens on earth, and again they had to interfere so that earth will not get destroyed. Until that happens, they had to just allow things to play out. Okay, now let's see what happened. Thousands of 4D beings and races remained within the grid and carried out programs and tactics that pulled the earth and humanity down in frequency for nearly 4,500 years. By this time, earth was already in a 47%, 48% into 5D. But again, she started going down. These programs and tactics included abducting humans for experimentation, creating hybrid races, and infiltrating human body to manipulate and control humanity. See, when people went into 3D, like this is what duality is, okay? As much as positive happens, negative also will, there will be a lot of situations where negative will also grow in some way or the other, and somebody or the other will be, God will choose somebody or the other in some form, he will express himself as bad. Okay, it is supposed to happen. Let's assume that it is supposed to happen. So it is starting, it happened at the time. This was one of the most chaotic times we have ever seen on the planet. We would like to provide detail on what unraveled during these 4,500 linear years. But before we do, let us explain the 4D beings. If you remember, the fourth dimensional beings were designed and created millions of years ago when Earth was in 5D. Remember that 4D beings were also, they had a HS, they had all of those things. So 4D beings are also like that. 4D races are different. They were created to exist as 4D consciousness, not higher dimensional consciousness, experiencing themselves in 4D body. There was a variety of 4D races created at that time. So here fourth dimensional beings were designed and created millions of years ago when Earth was in 5D. They were created to exist as 4D conscious. Okay, they are referring to the same fourth dimensional thing, because GFOL did not create 4D beings. I'm sorry about that. GFOL did not create 4D beings. No creation was done in 4D. It was all done in 5D, 5D body, 5D people, 5D HTC, everything is 5D, 5D, 5D. They dropped their frequency to 4D. Okay, that is one. So, but there were 4D beings were designed and created millions of years ago when Earth was in 5D. Remember that story we have already learned. They were created to exist as 4D consciousness, not higher dimensional consciousness, experiencing themselves in 4D body. Okay, they were specifically created with the 4D. The house, their location, everything was only 4D, not 3D, not 5D, only 4D. There was a variety of different 4D races created at that time. They all held a frequency within the 4D spectrum only. As we have explained, a dimensional field holds a spectrum of consciousness, creating experiences. Okay, spectrum of consciousness is also, lots of emotions and all of those things. Lower dimensional fields such as 3 and 4 allow for many more experiences than higher dimensional fields such as 8th and 9th. This is because as consciousness slows down its frequency, down to, or moves into lower frequencies, it stretches and there is more to be experienced within that one consciousness. Duality and polarity are created through this stretching of consciousness. The spectrum of available experiences increases as the frequency of a dimensional field increases. So as you come down in that triangle, the width increases. The width increasing means the frequency points that are there in that band are now larger than the points that are there in the previous band. Okay, in 5D it is relatively less than 4D. In 3D it is relatively more than 4D, like that. That means number of frequency points are now more, because the energy has slowed down so much. Time has slowed down so much that it has expanded like this. Okay, like when I say time or now, in 4D it is now. In 3D it is now. Okay, far bigger. When a being understands how energy works, this is because as consciousness slow down, this I think, the 4D field is similar to the 3D field. However, the 4D is in a slightly higher frequency, allowing beings within that field to remember how to access the quantum field. Okay, so the 4D beings, they remember slightly more than what 3D people. 3D people are totally gone. Right? 3D people are totally gone, but 4D slightly is neither in 5D nor in 3D. They are neither too lost like 3D. They are neither too aware like 5D. Okay, they are in between. They understand how energy works. And when a being understands how energy works, they can manipulate the energetic fields. They can create instantaneously. They can move themselves between lower dimensional fields. They can alter physical realities through energetic intent. So there is some amount of energy manipulation that people can do when they are aware. Where a 4D being's frequency exists within the 4D spectrum dictates the way they experience their reality. The higher a being's frequency within a dimensional spectrum, the more they will experience and feel higher dimensional aspects of that spectrum. It means, let's say if this is the band, Now, let's say if they are in, this is 4.1 to 4.10, for example. Now, if I'm between 4.1 to 4.5, you'll still experience slightly more 3D aspects and some amount of 4D aspects. But when you go to 4.5 to 4.10, in that, you'll be predominantly experiencing the higher aspects of that dimension itself. They will start to experience higher states of consciousness. For example, 4.5 to 4.10, they will start to able to understand some 5D aspects also. For example, if a being were holding a frequency between 4.7 to 4.9, it would experience unity consciousness, benevolence, neutrality, oneness, and peace. It would be very close to the 5D field and 5D consciousness. If a being were holding a 4D frequency, 4.2 to 4.0, it would be experiencing individuality, duality, separateness, greed, or fear. One side of the 4D spectrum is unity consciousness, the other side of the spectrum is individual consciousness. Okay? So even if we are all in 4D, because we are now transitioning through that 3D and we are trying to go to oneness and all of those things, we may be also in 4.0 to 4.5 only, because we still haven't experienced the unity consciousness fully. So if we were, then we would have gone off, rather behaved like 5D people. But we are still in that 4.0 to 4.5 only. There is some amount of aspects that we still see in our life, no? That is why. But we are getting all this knowledge so that we can transition. So that is why we are in that level. One side of 4D spectrum is unity and the other side is individual. A 4D being's frequency, just like a human's frequency, dictates where they are along the spectrum of 4D, which dictates their reality. The reason we share this with you is because the 4D beings that came into 5D grid were the lower frequencies of the 4D field. They did not hold the same intent as the higher dimensional beings. So what was the intention of the higher dimensional beings when they created this 5D? It was all unity, oneness, peace, neutrality, compassion. So that intention when they created the human body and all was very 5D. Right? When it was created only, it was all very 5D consciousness. Nobody intended for duality at all. But it happened and they sort of allowed it. But when the 4D races were created, when the 4D dimensions were created by somebody else, some other HDCs created it, the intent was to control and test the 4D stuff. Test, without them coming into 4D, they created beings in the 4D so that they can watch them and they can learn, or they can, because they knew when they get into their body and duality, it is very difficult to come out. So what did they do? They created 4D beings so that they can watch them go do whatever they want. And anyway, they didn't have a, what do you say, a HDC behind it and all that. They were like almost like robots. So there was no attachment to whether they will live, they will die, or whatever it is. It was mostly experimentation to play out how the 4D stuff played out. See, in this whole thing, no, in the HTCs, the HTC at the HTC level, even when they are in the higher dimensional consciousness, they are very well sure that nobody is dying. Even from a GFOL perspective, when they were constantly experimenting how is the human body going to be stable, how much of quotient we have to give, all of that, many bodies died in the process, right? Body dying was not a big deal. So that is why even from here, if somebody is creating 4D races, they don't care whether that body is going to live or whether that. For us in the 3D, we are very attached to our body. But at a higher level, body consciousness is not at all there. Okay, you understand. If I have to understand 4D thing, if they have to understand 4D, how these frequencies play out, how the emotions play out and all that, they created these beings to watch and see how to play out each of these things. So it was all playing out. God said, go do, right? People are doing whatever they want. Their intention was drastically different. They wanted to understand and explore the physical reality within the third dimension. So they wanted to understand and explore. They wanted to learn as much as they could within the 3D body, about the 3D body. 3D human body. They were fascinated by it. See, when these races, when these other dimension, with other HTCs created this 4D races, they were not human bodies. Human body was very meticulously, very with very lot of thought it was designed. But 4D races were not designed with a lot of thought behind, because there was no good intentions of evolution also. It was, they will be there, they will rot, whatever they will happen, they just go to. So but here there was a lot of thought, so there was a lot of, they had a lot of fascination towards the human body. How did the human body work within the dense field of consciousness? How did they even create this body? How is it even working? They forgot that there was, I mean, they did not know that there was so much of experimentation done to make it stable. Before they even invited higher consciousness to occupy the human body, they have done a lot of research. In fact, the GFOL team itself has gone into the body, and they've lived there for like millions of years to even understand where the body is stable, where the body is not stable, blah blah blah. All that they've done, and then only they are called people to occupy the body. So which means a lot of work was done, which was very fascinating to all these beings. How did it hold energy? How did the higher dimensional consciousness within the human form connect to its light? How did the human form shift to higher states of consciousness? And how is it that this body is only evolving? It is not, now these 4D races will continue to remain in 4D, but this body can go to 5D, it can go to 6D, it can go to 7D, whatever it can go. How is this human body even created? How smart it is? How, see, all the HTCs have God consciousness, but you should understand that knowledge and wisdom evolves, right? If I have to become a physicist, I have to start from scratch and understand what is physics, and do this and do this and do this, and then go through experiments and fail and do this. And so many things I have to go through, because if I take one step, then I will learn from that step. Then only the next step will appear to me. That is what is called practice, right? Like that only knowledge came, even to GFOL knowledge came like that only. Wisdom came like that only in creating a human body. And you can't look at all these inventions that we have made in our reality. So many inventions have been made. And even when you take this electrical bulb, they say that 10,000 times he failed, right? 10,000 times he failed to create that electric bulb, the incandescent bulb, before he was able to actually succeed. Even though that idea was a higher dimensional idea, but that idea had to be constantly worked and executed. The possibility had to be constantly done through this human body. Until then, it did not work. Let's say even the higher self gave that idea, but for that idea to even see whether how, with the facilities that you have on earth, with the ingredients that you have on earth, you had to make it happen, and you don't know whether it is going to actually play out first time or 10th time, 11th time. What variables are going to fail? We don't know. That possibilities are very infinite. So you have to work only like that. And with that kind of a, like, efficient human body is what we also have. And we think it is so simple, and we think it is so fragile and all of that. It has been created with a lot of thought. It knows how to evolve by itself. It has a self healing capability, it has a self evolution capability and all that. But we ignorant individualized self cannot connect and make this human body evolve, because the one who is watching the human body and who is getting new experiences, so that if they, let's say they have, let's say the human mind or human consciousness has, let's say, 5 black dots inside. The higher self knows, oh, there are 5 black dots, and this black dot needs 2 experiences, that black dot needs 5 experiences, this black dot needs 10 experiences. It knows. But do we know? Every time one experience comes, oh my god, I don't like this experience. We can't do that. We have to just learn to watch and allow things to happen, because who is, we are like the middle party. We are just a connector. We are just getting connected like this. We are in the center. Here is the body, here is the higher self. Now the higher self knows what it's making the body do, and we are just for the higher self to understand what the body is doing, I have to give that through me only. That message has to go to higher self. Then it will decide what else experience has to come through to make this happen. What else experience has to come through, because it's like a baby, right? The body, everybody is intending for that body to evolve, right? So you need to allow, because we are in the center. So that remembrance is what I wanted to bring today, that we are in the center. We have to allow for that. We have to allow to be the middleman. We have to be that middleman and just allow connections to happen versus decisions to happen versus interference to happen. Okay. They were fascinated by it, all that. These particular 4D beings had been watching Earth and humanity evolve in the 3D field for the last 10,000 years. Once we opened the 5D grid, they entered the Earth field and began to experiment with the human body and manipulate the physical reality. They have been watching because they were outside the grid. They have been watching. I mean, you can watch, like you can be a vibrating entity, higher vibrating entity, and you can actually watch what is going through, but you can't actually enter the grid because there is a layer of energy grid here. It's like Lakshman Rekha. You can't cross that Lakshman Rekha and come. But now that they opened, they had all done all planning, they came to see what all we can do. Entering onto the earth. The 4D beings entered onto the 3D earth by shifting their frequency down slightly to a 3D frequency. See, because when before 4D and all happened, maybe not much of the frequencies, not much of the spectrum was completely explored. But now that this 4D beings came, a lot more of the negative spectrum was explored, right? Just assume that this is a play of God, right? A play where God is wanting to experience the whole of the spectrum. As higher dimensional consciousness, maybe you will not go through some of the spectrum aspects at all, because your nature is to be like that. But if there are certain entities that are created which don't have a heart only, which don't have that soul only, then they will be able to do some things which a soul may not be able to do, right? So let's assume that it actually is playing out to ensure that at a God's level, all aspects are being touched. So let us not go very personally about good, bad here. Okay, if you have questions here, please ask me later. This was not difficult as they were vibrating in the lower spectrum of the 4D and they could access the 3D field with ease. They had the ability to physically appear on the earth. However, if they showed themselves to the human, they would have a difficult time exploring and dissecting the physical reality and the human form. They had remained unseen as much as possible. The 4D beings knew how energy and consciousness worked and could manipulate their own energy fields, allowing them to shift in and shift out of 3D, 4D with ease. When they shifted down into 3D, they always appeared in their 4D physical forms. They did not look human and they could be seen physically by the human. When they shifted back to 4D, the 4D frequency, the human could not hold the same 4D, who could not hold the 4D frequency was unable to see 4D beings. That being was still standing in front of them, but from the human's perspective, the being had disappeared. Okay, understand this. The being shifted their frequency higher and moved out of 3D field and into 4D field. They could simply appear and disappear in a blink of an eye. These beings use this ability to their advantage. The galactic and reptilian beings. There were two specific beings of 4D that were on the Earth plane at this time, the galactic beings and the reptilians. These two groups experienced the 3D plane and humanity differently. They were a variety of races within each group. A race is a large group of beings or consciousness that holds similar characteristics and frequencies, dictating the way they experience a dimensional field, which means reptilians will have a certain characteristic, the way they are intended before they were created, or galactic beings are separate. All the 4D races were created from HTCs that held the same names. For instance, the 4D galactic Anunnaki descended and were designed from the 9th and 11th dimensional Anunnaki collective. The 4D galactic grey races descended and were designed from the 8th to 11th dimensional grey collectives. Right? See, this grey word, okay, most of the 4D reptilian races originated from the Orion, Lyran, Syrian collectives. See, all of many of these higher dimensional beings have actually have actually created these things. See, when you look at this Orion, Lyran, Siren, uh, all of these people, they are having their own living system in wherever they are. Okay, so within the 12D itself, they are living their own life in a different way. Okay, maybe different planet, maybe wherever they are coming together as a collective, maybe as a planet, maybe as a star, whatever they have come together as, they are living their lives. For example, this grey collectives, in fact, I had forgotten where I had seen this, but even before I came to this chapter, I don't know if you know, about Bashar. There is one person who channels this higher entity called Bashar, right? So he told in the movie that I sent, what he told was, we were basically failing as a race. We were basically failing after millions of years of living. We were basically failing because we eventually forgot our true nature, which is at a higher level. Okay, at a higher level, we forgot our true nature as a soul. We forgot how to have emotions and all that, because we became more technology focused. We became more advanced in masculine traits so much that we forgot our feminine traits. And because of our feminine traits were dying, we could not even we were dying as a complete race. We were basically dying. So what we wanted to do is, we wanted to become like the human beings who were still having a soul, who were still having emotions and all of that. But then we could not go there because we had basically become so, we had forgotten that state of emotions and all that. So we did a lot of experiments on human. We abducted humans, and then we did all of these things. Not just humans, we went to other whatever planets or whatever, and then they've taken that sample also, because their planet was dying. So they identified a new planet, and then they put all of these things in the creation of that new planet, and then they made it a very green planet, like the earth. They made it a very green planet, and they stopped making the mistakes that they did when their planet was dying. Okay, SSR or something, that planet is called. So he spoke about something. So he told that now we all live in spaceships, and we don't create any physical structures on our planet at all. We just allow the nature. It is just full of trees and animals and all of those things only. But we are not living in between that nature. We enjoy that nature. We come back to our spaceship and we live inside the spaceship, because the spaceship keeps moving in and out and all that, no? So like that, he said. And he said that you are our ancestors, and we don't want to, we did a lot of such things for a higher purpose of keeping our races alive. But we know that we have actually wronged you, kind of thing. So now we want to make it up by giving that knowledge, because you are also dying as a race with all of the stuff that is happening in duality. Even you are getting lost as a race. So we want to come and give you that knowledge that we have gained in the process of literally dying and then surviving, is what he said. And he has been doing this from what 19 from for the last 40, in his 1960s or 70s or something. I think he started, so like 1945. No, I'm not sure, somewhere around that period. Bindu, if you remember, let me know. So he told all this, and he told he is from the race called Grey, which your earth call Grey, he said. They call us Greys, he said. And all these 4D races are, see, why did that information come to me? It just, because I had to probably share it with you. Because I've been listening to Bashar for a very long time. He has a very, very, very nice, crisp way of talking about oneness and all of that. So I've also forwarded many such videos. But then I was thinking, who is this Bashar? Who is he channeling? I don't know who is Bashar. So I was thinking. So then that is when I saw that he has been doing this for a very long time, right? He's been doing this for a very long time, like literally in that 60s, 70s, that kind of period. He's been doing it, and I have not known about it at all. And only now I got to know. Even now I did not know who he is, but then only like 2 days back or something, I started to Google about who is he channeling, which higher being is he channeling. That's when I understood that this person, this human being has a he was during his encounter, he was basically he remembered that he has a contract with them, some contract he has made with them to basically channel them. And then he started channeling like this. And this is what he told, and he's created a movie also, a documentary, and I sent the documentary to all of you. And this is what, and it's a very nice documentary, and he speaks very. So why should I get stuff about 4D races when the entire world is talking really bad about them? They think they're all let's say bad. They have come and then destroyed the human races. They've come and then, see, am I telling this as a body? I am telling this. Where will I get knowledge? I am also equally ignorant, right? I mean, Smita is also equally ignorant because she's just a body. But where am I getting all this information? Where am I getting all these experiences? Because my higher self is basically feeding me all this information. Because this information has to come to you. And only when we are able to believe that everything happens with a divine plan. I may see people hurting somebody as bad, but there is a higher divine plan behind it also. Even in front of Krishna itself, Arjun killed so many things, right? Arjun killed so many Kauravas. Even in front of Krishna itself, this happened because there was a divine plan behind all these things. There was a divine intention behind all these things. So let's assume that there is a divine intention behind even 4D races getting created, and the higher dimensional beings who created them were definitely in their higher states of mind. They were in that oneness state. But despite that, why did they come and do all these low profile activities? Maybe because they could not do these kinds of things, and they did it. For whatever reason they did it. Maybe they thought it was right to do it. Or at the higher global level, maybe at God's level, he knew that he's going to set that balance back. Today they will do all such low profile work, and tomorrow they will get an opportunity to go and return that favor back when earth is not doing well, right? Who went to 3D? Who went to 3D? People who were created with the best intentions only went to 3D, right? Nobody pushed us to 3D. We went with our best intentions. We went to 3D in the way of exploring 3D, right? So in that way, let's be open minded and go through this. So we'll just finish this 10.2 and then we'll stop. These higher dimensional collectives designed unique races that would exist in their own collective field of consciousness and experience themselves as that consciousness, not linked to any other collective system. They are not holding any aspect of light from HTCs. They are the consciousnesses. They are existing and vibrating as in that dimensional field. There has been much confusion about 4D races that hold the same names as HTCs. It is important to understand that the 4D races are experienced very differently than the higher dimensional collectives that designed them. Remember, from our perspective, beings, collectives, and races do not have names. They are energetic signatures and recognized through that signature. Humans create names to understand their reality. The 4D races may have the same names as the HTCs that created them, but they are distinctly different in their frequencies, how they experience themselves, and their reality. Okay, so let's stop here. Any questions? in anything that we spoke today? Yeah, Nidhi. Let me just unmute. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, ma'am. Ma'am, one maybe it's out of the context, ma'am. I don't think, I don't know, ma'am. Uh, ma'am, like they say, allow whatever emotions are coming to feel through it. Like if fear is coming, feel through the pain. If feel through it. If pain is coming, feel through it. But ma'am, like they say, na, when you are in an enlightened state, you neither feel very happy, you neither feel very sad. You are in that neutral
Samta.
state wherein
Hmm.
nothing disturbs you. Neither fear, nor pain, nor sorrow, nor happiness. So,
Yeah, it's
ma'am,
called an
in
equipoised state or Samta.
Samta, like undisturbed by whatever is happening around me. So, ma'am, in that state, I will not take fear as fear. I will take it just as an experience. So, nothing to worry as to how I'm feeling.
Correct.
Okay. So, in
For
that case,
example,
ma'am,
let's say you have fear. Now, let's say your child did not return home. It's dark, it's 6 o'clock. She had to return home. You are in fear.
hmm, hmm,
Now,
hmm,
what will you do typically? Oh my God, let us call her friend. Let us call this. Let us call that. Why? Because you have an attachment to your daughter. कुछ
hmm,
हो जाएगा उसे, and then you'll remember suddenly thoughts of some old newspaper articles, this, that, everything will come, and then you'll be in fear. But at this time, what we are telling is surrender. अच्छा fear हो रहा है. Let me surrender this fear, and then I'm going to surrender this fear. Let's say if you're still not in that state of detachment, I'm going to surrender this fear, and then I'm going to accept, mentally be ready for all outcomes. In that state you can go do calling, healing and all, but now you've made up your mind that God is going to take care.
hmm,
And
hmm,
if isme jo bhi, let's say if there is an accident happening to her also, some accident happened also, then you got to know that also I'm okay. If something bad happened to her, that is also okay. And she came home also, that is also okay. So you're okay for even the best positive, you're okay for the worst also. Mental readiness is there.
mental readiness is ready.
Surrender means mental readiness for all possible outcomes, including death of whatever you're fearing. That is what is called true surrender. Because you are trusting that whatever is necessary for me is only going to come. So when you are doing in that surrender, forget about that fear. And then even if you have to call, acha, yahan pe hai kya? Okay, okay. So you'll be calm. Then
Calm.
you talk about some of the, then you see your task you're anyway going to do. Body is going to call somebody and all that, it's still going to do. But you mentally are not connected to this whole thing because you know that somebody else is taking care. Higher self
Understood.
is taking care.
Ma'am, one more question. Like ma'am, yesterday Dipti ma'am was also saying, and you have also said many a times that just be, जैसे होता है ना साक्षी भाव से देखते रहो जो हो रहा है होने दो जो होगा अच्छे के लिए होगा but ma'am sometimes like supposingly how to explain like if suppose I have to there is some work and suppose if I'm not getting any work I'm working somewhere supposingly and I'm not getting any work since last few weeks so like two things arise. Should I be just sitting that okay, nothing is coming, okay, when it will come. Or sometimes kuch if no work is coming, should I speak to my senior that I'm not getting any work? Or so ma'am, I'm just taking this as an example. Like many a times it so happens now that we are in a situation, should we do or should we not to do? But
Mm-hmm.
then so the thing is, ma'am, ki if I am in a Sakshi Bhav state that okay, whatever will happen. So then, ma'am, I'm like it's as if ki should I do the work or should I just wait?
Should I go to ask him or should I not ask him?
Yes, yes. Just
But
an example.
in your present state, when you're not having that work, are you using your mind for going towards enlightenment, or are you in that state of oneness, or you're basically in anxiety? So is
Ma'am,
anxiety going to help?
mix of
No.
all.
No. Yeah, let's say fear, anxiety, whatever. It's not going to help you. Law of attraction wise also, it's not helping you. So at that time, you need to focus first on coming to that. coming to that state where you're detached, where you're basically doing your oneness work. Even if you're, let's say, doing chanting, jo bhi hai, whatever you're thinking, come to that center and believe that this period of rest is necessary for me, mental rest. So let me focus on maybe working on some of these practices. Then if you're maybe for the next work that is supposed to come, you need to prepare yourself to be some XYZ. Maybe you can read up some books and jo bhi hai, let's say you are a C++ coder or something. Do look up some of those kind of concepts, some new concepts that are there in the market. Jo bhi hai. All that also you can take a look. You should believe that whatever is happening in this very moment is basically happening to me at the right, is right for me. That sense of I'm missing out on something should not be there. You should watch yourself whether I am actually what do you say, in a way where I'm still contributing light to the universe, or I'm basically removing light from the universe. All you can do, the best thing that you can do is, am I still contributing light, or I'm removing light? If you're connected to the body, then you're removing light. If you're disconnected from the body and you're generally basically disconnected from the body, means, let's say, body can in that detached state of when new work is going to come or not come, then the body might casually think about looking at C++ concepts and all of that, then just go with that flow.
Yes,
You
ma'am. I got your point, ma'am. Many a times it so happens now that it's not that only work related. In many life situations, it seems as if should we do this work or should we not do this work? Should we
see
speak to
whether you
this
do that
person?
work, or even if you go and ask your seniors, I don't have work, please give me work, that is also not bad. Let the body go ask, let the mind go ask, because mind was restless. Mind went and asked. Go along with that. Wahan pe bhi you can be in oneness. There is nothing like only in this path you will be in oneness, in that path you will not be in oneness. It doesn't work like that. Even if you think that is the right thing to do, go and ask the seniors if I want more work. There also be in samta. I will surrender, I will go and ask work. Whether work comes or not, that is second. There is no right and wrong here. There is no, I should take this action, I shouldn't take this action. There is no such thing.
No,
You
no,
take the
that
action
is
also, that is okay. You don't take the action also, some other door will open. All the
the
doors are leading to the same place.
no. The only confusion that I was getting should I just ask or should I speak? Should we do some work or should we just stay in that साक्षी भाव कि ठीक है जो हो रहा है होने दो.
Even if you stay in that same place, for example, in case of Parul, she's like that. Okay, she stays, let's say nothing is coming to me, I'm going to wait. She'll be like patiently sitting and waiting. She'll do her work, jo bhi hai, let's say, whatever is
Who,
the
ma'am?
regular stuff,
Who?
she will keep doing. Parul.
Okay, okay, okay.
Her thing is she'll wait. She'll stay in the same place. She'll stay in the same place. And eventually some experience is going to come where she'll probably intuitively figure out, okay, this is a new work. And then she'll take it. Or new action. She has a way of finding out like that. But then if you are not a person who if you are a person who feels restless when you have to wait like that, choose going and asking. Wahan pe bhi look at the body asking, look at the mind asking, and you be surrendered.
Understood.
There is no one way of living life. There are multiple ways of living life.
Understood.
And in that life, how will you be? See, there is no perfect life, but we can try to be perfect in all the situations. Perfect means samta.
Yesterday when Dipti ma'am said na, I really got confused कि क्या करना चाहिए. Should we take the step or should we just sit and wait? Dip-
She's talking at a very high level. You need a
I know,
lot of
ma'am.
background to be able to catch what she's telling. And I'm
Yes, ma'am.
sure many
Yes.
people who are getting those seeds will eventually find many other experiences who will get more details in some other opportunities. Maybe
Yes,
she's at
ma'am.
that level where she's only planting the seeds.
Hmm. And ma'am, one more thing, ma'am. Like we read about zones and we read about stargates. So, ma'am, both are same or like titles are different, but both meant the same, I guess.
Yeah,
Zone
both meant
and
the same. Yeah.
both meant the same. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Sangeeta. Tell me.
Hello. So when we move from 3D to 4D to 5D, that is called a evolution of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how is it different from expansion of consciousness? This was the topic yesterday.
Vistar.
From the
Evolution of consciousness, expansion of consciousness is the same.
it's the
Because,
same.
oh,
Okay.
yeah, it's the same. Because now your awareness is only, if I'm looking at you, I can only focus on you. But if my consciousness expands, I'll be talking to you, but I'll also be able to perceive everything in my peripheral vision.
Hmm.
Even if it's further expands, I'll be still able to perceive maybe something that is happening. May not be in this room also, maybe outside somewhere, maybe which is connected to me. Somebody is thinking about me, I'm able to still perceive that. You still
Okay.
further expand, maybe in my multiple realities, whatever is happening to that connected soul, because we are all connected, right? So I'll be able to perceive that all together at once. I'll be able to perceive all that. That is what is called expansion of consciousness.
Multiple
Perceiving everything
realities means
together.
multiple lives.
Yeah, everything together.
Okay.
Everything together. If you're able
Hmm.
to get inside your head and also able to understand, imagine how it will be.
Hmm.
Today, only when I'm talking to you, you can understand. But what if 10 people are talking to you? Will you be able to pick up everything and still be able to respond to them? No. That is called the expanded level of consciousness, where you will be able to receive a lot of data and will be able to respond to everybody at the same time.
Hmm. So when
And at 5D,
when
that
we
happens.
hmm, hmm,
To some level, it happens. To that level, it happens. And 60 more expanded, 70 more expanded.
hmm. And at the source level, it's ultimate expansion, and
Ultimate expansion.
still our experiences is contributing to God's further expansion of the consciousness.
Yeah. They say that there is no stopping for ascension. It's not like you
Hmm.
go to 5D and your ascension stops. Your ascension is infinite. Evolution is infinite. Because source is infinite. The level of
Extension.
source is
Hmm.
infinite.
Hmm. Extension also.
Ascension.
I was ascension.
Ascension means
Ascension.
ascending.
So in that case, we are not losing the body. We take the body with us to a higher dimension.
Till 7, I think the body is there. After that, the frequency is higher, so it will become invisible. There is no, the body is at light. Body is is basically in that light form.
So for the other human beings in 3D form, that person who got ascended just vanishes.
They will be able to lower their body's frequency, and they'll, because a person who ascended, right, they will be able to operate in all of these dimensions.
Parallelly, they
Only
can.
only a person who has not ascended, like for example, these 4D beings, they were in 4D, they are meant for 4D, but if they have to come to 3D, they can only come for a short period of time, because the body is not designed for up and down and all that. So they'll have to, when they go to 4D, it will disappear in 3D. When they are in 3D, only for a short period they'll be in 3D. This is there even in Sunshine Before the Dawn. Beings from 5D, when they went to maybe 12D or something, they could not stay there for a long time because the body was not designed to go there. But our body is designed to go even till 12D. It's a very sophisticated machine, human body, provided we use that to go to that level.
Yeah. Another thing, yesterday I listened to the recording of the Journey to Soul workshop.
Ek Atma
And
ki
there,
yatra.
yeah. And then they were mentioning that plants do not have only feelings and no emotions, so they don't have a revenge. But animals have emotions and they can also have revenge for people who eat them. But animals do eat other animals as part of the food chain. Does revenge have any role to play here?
I don't know what kind of spectrum of frequencies they experience. I don't think they are even if even if we term that as revenge, I think it's more about survival. If somebody is trying to, if somebody is, for example, a snake, if I'm going and then trying to hurt the snake will come and bite me. Just because I hit the snake doesn't mean that the snake is coming and taking revenge on me. The snake is acting in defense. So that if you call that revenge, that is our way of looking at it.
No, this topic came up when someone was talking about non-vegetarians who eat animals. Then there is this emotion of revenge that can come up later as karma or something.
You mean to say I will get the animal tendencies?
Probably
Who is getting revenge?
the animal who was eaten would have the revenge emotions for the person who eats them.
Maybe
so once
if
they
there's a
have died,
maybe if there's a HTC who was in an animal experience, who has a contract with another human being who killed him. And then maybe, see, there are so many such combinations that have played out in the past. And then you eat me, I'll eat you. And then we'll see how this spectrum of consciousness plays out. Yeah, possible. It all depends on what you pick in that frequency spectrum and you want to experience. And then animal to human such experience also is possible. Even plant to human experience is also possible like that. There is I think in one of the experiences, I don't know where I heard this. I think I read this in one of these Facebook posts. I think there was no, or maybe in some storybook, in some book only, where the father and son did not have a great relationship. I think in Dolores Cannon's post. So father and son did not have a great relationship. So the son came for the past life regression, and then in that situation they got to know that in one of the lives, one was a tree, and he was a tree, the son was a tree or something. The father came and chopped the tree, and then they had to come and then finish off these experiences with each other. So they came in the form of father and son, but they still had the tree. The tree also had some feeling that okay, I was chopped kind of thing. There was something like that played out. But in this divine design book, they say that they are all 5D experience. They are all in 5D, trees and animals and all that. They say that they are all still in 5D. But then when we all dipped to 3D, I don't know whether animals also dipped to 3D, trees also dipped to 3D. That I think was not clearly mentioned. But it's okay. In that experience, they said that he chopped, and then to neutralize that karma, they came back as father and son, and then they still had that quota of give and take. And because the energies were still not matching, they still had that feeling of you did this to me kind of thing. Like this, multiple father and son lives, they kept happening like this. So I've read this somewhere. See, I think in the 3D, lots of such possibilities have played out in millions of years. Many such experiences and combinations and permutations have basically played out. between HDCs, just so that they can cover the frequency of spectrum.
Also, in this divine design book, it seems every plant is linked to an HDC, and every animal is linked to an HDC individually. But in yesterday's session, they mentioned there are group souls for plants and animals. Only humans have individual souls.
I've read this also because it's not like a tree is not it is maybe participating in giving oxygen and all of those things as such, like they are not participating in experiencing frequency of spectrums a whole lot, no. So I have also read that one soul choose to be in a group of trees also, and until it comes to, let's say, one big wild animals and all that, there is still again group concept there also in animals.
Yeah.
Like group of tadpoles have one soul, like that.
Right. And
people, I mean, they go in collections. If they are always going in collections, small animals kind of thing, there is still a group soul concept.
And even if one of those animals die, or one of those plants die, the group soul is not affected by it. And then they gave an example that we have so many cells in our body, and every minute cells are dying and coming up. But our soul is not affected by it.
Yeah.
But this concept is a bit different here in divine design.
Divine design is a intention of divine design is by something else, not soul. But soul is another topic by itself. And there are like it's a huge concept. It has a very huge depth also. And the more you read books, the more you'll know about it. All different permutations and combinations you'll know about it. Because it's just an intent away. You should remember that. And which HTC intended what? It is just anything possible. How can you say it has to happen like this? There is nothing like that. No, there is no such rule. So for you to understand the possibilities that can happen, oh, it can happen like this also, it can happen like this also, oh, this is also possible, that is also, then that is where your reading has to become more wide. The more your breadth increases, then you'll be able to understand all this. There is no such one single way kind of thing.
I know we have discussed this earlier, but how is soul and HTC connected? Soul is a part of HTC. Or?
When the spark was released by God, that is called a spirit. Okay, that's just the spark. Now God wants to experience. So God is giving you all the thoughts at that level. I mean, when I'm saying God, at the God level, soul level, when that oneness level kind of thing, that thoughts are basically coming from there. But then there was no container for God to experience it. Experience, like you have to interpret that thought, no? So that interpretation, for that interpretation to happen, somebody had to take it and then give emotions to it, feelings to it. So that became soul. Souls are more like a collection, a level of God, a lower vibration of God. Every spark became a soul, a collection unit to collect the thoughts from God. And then that's at a soul level, feelings, emotions and all that happen. But yeah, is it enough to get feelings and emotion and all that? At soul level only, even creation and all that will happen. Intent. So HTCs are all at soul level. But then there is no use of being in that level, no? You just have to, obviously, if there is a physical and all of those things, you have to experience something or the other. There has to be a container to feel. There has to be a unit to express that emotion. And at different dimensions, expressions can be experienced like that. But then for a physical, you need a physical body to express that emotion. So for that, there are all these 12 dimensions that were created and all that story, you know.
One more question. So in 3D, we have a wide spectrum of emotions. In 5D, it gets less. At the source level, there's only one emotion, love. And in between, like 7th dimension, are there also emotions there?
Yeah, there are emotions there also.
So there'll be emotions in every dimension.
Yeah.
And at source level, 0 emotion or 1 emotion?
Not
We
sure.
don't know. But sometimes we also
We just say
say
source is
God is
unconditional
love.
love.
So,
See,
but
love,
it's also
love is like,
shunya.
see, shunya is void state before God. Before God was created, that
Before
void, from a
God.
void only God was created. That is not the emotion. When you say unconditional love, right? From love only creation happens, right? From love only, because of love only, love for love, that love as a thing makes things come together, and it actually creates things together. It makes things happen. That is why they say love, because of love only creation happens.
So probably at the highest level, there's the love emotion still remains. And at some level between 5D and source, even gratitude and these things are taken away.
See, if you are everything, then what are you giving gratitude for? If you experience yourself in everything and you think you only get that, oh, I'm the Paramatma is inside me only. And then you see everything around you, then you only see a reflection of Paramatma, then who are you giving gratitude for? You anyway are in general having that gratitude feeling for Paramatma for using you as an instrument. But there is oneness, there is no separation feeling. See, as a human being, we are becoming a better human being when we use gratitude. But at some point, you are actually going beyond gratitude to self-love and becoming loved by yourself. Then there is no gratitude. It is going beyond that.
Sometimes while writing gratitude, I have this feeling, why I'm writing all these things? Every sentence in the end means the same.
If that doesn't resonate with you, don't. But what resonates with you to go higher, follow that. You can just work on your own emotions and you can work on your own observations and all that. But how are you going to manage on staying high vibrating? That you have to work by yourself. We are not saying gratitude is the only tool. You have to be connected to source somehow. Remember to be connected to the source somehow, at least mentally. Then you'll remember, oh, I'm connected to the source. I've got everything from source, blah, blah. Something or the other. That anchoring to the source is necessary. How you do it does not matter. People do puja, people do prayers, people chant, people meditate, people do gratitude. But how you do it, it is up to you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Ha, Sonia?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, yesterday, in connecting with the 9.4, ma'am, it was they would work with her by energetically tapping into and adjusting the grids into and around her form. Like, after making the grid, they were adjusting the grids.
Let me just connect once more.
Like, I didn't get this point, adjusting the grids.
9.4.
9.4, second para, last sentence.
Many of the collective. Can you mute? Yeah. Earth was always energetically receiving guidance from these collectives and beings through her energetic grids. They would work with her by energetically tapping into and adjusting the grids into and around her form. See here, what they're saying is, how will Earth evolve? Earth is in a contained environment, which means they are monitoring her every step, every aspect of that physical's evolution is being monitored. So it is not like Earth is working by herself to evolve. there is a huge group that is, I think in somewhere we read it, there's a security council, there is this council, that council. So many councils were basically working so that the earth is balanced and her energy is like working and all of those things. So these grids, these frequency grids, they would basically manage all of those things such that her energy is all well maintained. So they would work with her. How do they work with her? How are they working with her? If she's in 3D and they are all in 5D, how are they basically connecting to us? Is there a special way? No, they would work with her by energetically tapping into and adjusting the grids into and around her form, which means they are creating vortices. What is it called? Portals. So they are tapping into 3D. They are tapping into 3D and adjusting the grid so that it can be a 5D frequency grid. That point, that frequency grid point can be vibrating at 5D frequency. So only after this, they talk about a lot of such stargates and portals and all of those things. Otherwise, how is it possible for somebody who's in the, where they can't even come and help a human being in 3D? How can they help Earth in 3D? So somewhere they have to find a way to connect to her even when she's in that lower frequency. That is what it actually means. You're in mute.
Ma'am, you mean that these grids are not 5D grid which they were talking about earlier? These are energetic grids.
See, 5D grid is different. Energetic
Human
grid is
has
different.
a energy field, that kind of.
That energy field they're talking about. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, one thing more. Ma'am, in one of the Patri sir's video, he said that the source divides, suppose, into three parts. Then it further subdivides. And then from there, the spark comes, which we are. So if we try to imply it over here, what is that? Like our HDC divides into two smaller, two lower frequencies are I am presence and then higher self and then the spark we are. Does that mean this?
I am not sure. So he says source divides into three.
Ma'am, I'll find the video, which is impossible, but if I find it, I'll forward it to you. Over there, he says the source divides into main streams, like suppose into 5 streams, and then that those 5 streams again subdivide, and then those subdivisions again split the sparks which we are. Could
See,
be
at
you
some point,
trying
see, we
your
don't know
thought.
when spark comes. See, we are at a level, we just have to, whether we know about it, whether we don't know about it, whether
It doesn't matter.
it really does not matter, if you ask me. Because for us, what matters is evolution. How
Right.
we came here, okay, from source we came here. That much if we know, because some at his level, he's probably able to understand something more. At Lori Ladd's level, she was able to pick up something, whatever she was able to pick up. At some other, let's say, enlightened Ramana Maharshi's level, he will tell something else. Because each of them will be able to perceive the reality in their own way, based on their level of ascension.
Okay.
So it doesn't really matter for us. That is too much of information, if you ask me.
Okay.
It is just, it will become a lot of information for the ego, but not necessary for our ascension.
Evolution. Right, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, one thing more. Ma'am, in like this Golden Lake book, so these vegan lineages, they first worked on the masculine aspect. They didn't work on the feminine aspect. They started creating zetas. They're under the conscious, and then they could be 4D form is cause of that reason because they were
Yeah.
experimenting all the time. These vegans were experimenting, and then these Pleiadians were experimenting.
Everybody was experimenting. That is, see, the Syrians
They-
are there, Lyrans are there, Orions are there. Everybody
yes.
was experimenting. See, at their level, within the 12D grid itself, they were all experimenting and doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
And they, at some point, they also continue to mess up. And then they wanted to go back to that state. And that soul and everything will, see, take our level. Suddenly, if if we're not having unconditional love within us, how will you even get that unconditional love? I think in something I've read that At some point, I think Deepthi only had told this. At some point, they came down and they realized, oh my God, I'm separated. I've separated from source. How do I even go back? They tried to kill each other. Even when they killed each other because they wanted to take that energy from the other person, it did not happen. And that is when she says, I don't know whether they say that the archangels were formed, and they asked, they had traits of both positive and negative qualities, feminine and masculine qualities, both balanced. Then they asked them, what do we have to do now? See how if we have to go back to source, what should we do? At that time, they said, you can't go back to source in your current status. You need to go to the worst possible state, and then only you can ascend. Because unless you know what you are missing, you will, unless you know the complete separation from God, you will never be able to come back to that complete union with God. If you go little separation from God, you will only come back with little union from God. It is like that rubber band effect. The more you pull the rubber band, the farther it will go in the same thing. So I'm sure all of these races have done their part.
Yes,
And but they know the intention was to get back to the source. The intention was to get back to that unconditional love state, emotion, all of that state. And they have done their own jugaad to get all that state done. And we
ma'am.
may think it is all bad, but I think at a higher level, it was meant to happen.
Ma'am, in this ego gatekeeper, the triangle Sasha made in this, is it visible, ma'am?
Who made this?
Ma'am, golden leg, ma'am.
Oh, I don't remember so much. You can send me the picture later. Okay, you can tell.
Ma'am, in this too, exactly what you're saying is first, like to the end, the last layer of this triangle is suffering. Like to that extent, you have to feel the suffering in every cell of the body. It's then comes the illusionary emotional reaction. Exactly what you said just now, that illusionary emotional reaction when you feel and then you experience, that is illusionary. Then only you'll reach the basic belief system through which the things started generating. Like from there, that will be the twisting point when you will start going towards the basic root causes of your sufferings. Like belief
Correct.
system is through the that is illusionary, no?
Yes. See, why did even belief systems start happening is because you forgot yourself at some point. Right? In one of these things, I read all that Ramta's story and all of those things. Ramta's story, nahi? Ramta's explanation about 3D and all that I explained, right? In that, what happened? They took this body, and the body was not as agile, not as intelligent as what HTC was. And when they were connected, they were sort of getting all like bound, and like body was dying, but they couldn't control the body. And there were also harsh environmental conditions which was also affecting the body, and they had grown very attached to the body. So they started to believe, okay, yeah, if sun is in the afternoon, and if I go out with the body in the afternoon, then sun is going to kill the body, so I should not go out in the afternoon. So they started devising plans to protect the body from dying. So all these are called belief systems.
Yes,
But belief
that.
system is not there if you're not body consciousness.
Yes, ma'am. Yesterday, Raju Raman sir also said that everything is originating from the fear, sense of fear. Because before being humans, we were animals, and before that, plants, and then mineral systems. So basically, we were scared. We were scared of dying. Everything, like they started doing whatever animals did was to protect themselves from dying.
Ultimately HDC wanted to protect the body it created.
Yeah. So the
If I
basic
am,
system is always dying. Fear.
and the environment is such that it is meant to self-sustain, which means plants will be eaten away by the animals, and then some other
Yes.
animal will eat another animal. So if you're living the life of a deer, then some other animal will come and eat the deer. But
It's a
what if you don't want to die? I just got used to living like a deer. It was so nice. I was with my another animal, all that. Then suddenly, oh, this stupid tiger came and ate me off. then that sense of attachment is there, right? So while they're like nicely living, even we feel that, no, when everything is going well in my life, why did this problem happen? Itna acha chal raha tha. This entire year was so good. Something happened in my life, and then my entire life became transformational. Rather, it went down. So we all speak about that even now. That kind of attitude is there even now, about holding on or getting attached to something that is giving us pleasure or happiness. And at some point HTCs believed that this body is giving me pleasure. Playing with the body is giving me pleasure. So if playing with the body is giving me pleasure and somebody takes away that body, now it's like your toy is lost.
Right.
So now they were doing many things to protect that body, and that was called fear. Why did they even do all of these things to run away from something, create belief systems, all that? Because they wanted to protect that body from getting destroyed. They knew they are not the body, but over at some point somebody forgot also that they are the body. They are not the body. Initially they knew they are not the body, and they kept protecting, devising mechanisms. From there the belief system started.
Just that, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. See, if you read these divine design books and then you read those books also, then you'll know exactly. And it's like Ramta's books. If you read not just the white book, if you read the other books also, you'll get a lot of clarity in many of these deeper aspects. Then if you connect that to these, why when I was living like an animal, when I was living like a plant, why did I even go? Then if you connect DD, this, that, all of these things together, then you'll get a big, good picture.
Yes, this is very helpful, like connecting all. There's another book. This is what spiritual growth by Orion, like spiritual growth.
Okay.
Yeah, these are basically meditations. Like I'm crazy for meditations, but too good, ma'am. Very good. I just did 3 meditation. Like try to do third today. Every day I just read one meditation. I practice it for a few days, and then I switch read another chapter. But this too is very good.
Enjoy.
Basically meditations only in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello friends, thank you so much. It was really a great class today. Even very healthy explanations, very healthy
Your lecture was
information.
very good. That starting lecture, that was very informative, because this question I kept on pondering my mind. Like I am feeling, I have the feelings now. I have to feel it in the whole body, one book says, and then I like this is not what HDAC is experiencing this, and then again this is not good. This is duality. This is not oneness. So I was not getting my stand. Like I was not getting, and I was not able to explain, frame a question to ask from you even. So many days.
Some of these things, no, we first have to understand how to get to oneness. Then genuine experiences will start coming through. Then you can experience 3D from a oneness state, which you had actually come here for in the first place. But abhi kya hai na, we have basically got lost. See, first of all, we need to get that connection. When we get that connection with the higher self, then when the instruction comes intuitively, then you'll be able to actually experience things properly. Then the emotions will be purely and genuinely done experiences. Now, fear experiences, it's okay. But now you know that body has to experience fear. Body has to experience all of these things. Let it experience, but then you be balanced, because
Ma'am,
body
there are
will
few fears which are not from here. Like I always used to think they are coming from back, but our soul chose it. When I like most of the books I hear from swadhyayas, because you cannot read all the books. So if 1 or 2 hour of swadhyay is good, like Neeta Bhojwani ma'am does or other. From when I learned about 7 archetypes of souls and 7 archetypes of fears, then I understood it deeply, and then I started to work on my fear and my emotions, my CCs. Then I read over here. Eventually I read about CCs in 2 days only. I understood that this is our soul's choice. Like from that 7 archetypes of souls and 7 archetypes of fear, they also are, those books are based on these CCs only. And then when I worked on this, which what I'm telling you, this triangle, I started meditating, and I made the meditation points, and I worked on those meditations. I started releasing from every cell of my bones, started releasing, and it was as if asking, my body was telling me, release this and release that. And I felt changes in my thought patterns, my attitudes, my reactions also, like within this one or span of 1 week or 10 days, ma'am. Everything, all the information came to me all together, and I framed a meditation, and it actually worked. I'm
Okay,
really
okay.
thankful to you, all of you masters, ma'am. All of you, from the core of my heart. You, like,
See, what you have to get, you are anyway getting, whoever is designing, you're getting the experiences.
and this is my it has been just 4 months since I joined
PSSM.
PSSM. Yes, ma'am. So yours is the second class, second workshop. First, I attended Ramtha. I didn't understand much, and half the time I was sleeping. Like, to the extent they used to say Shah, and then I used to hear 5 minutes left. Where is that Shanti gone? Where is that half an hour of meditation gone? To that extent. And then I heard that Dipti ma'am's class, then yours. Now again Dipti ma'am's, like, wo jo subah 4 o'clock wali hai. Too good, ma'am. You people have changed me a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Yeah.
Thank you.